This is Sports Drive.
Welcome back into Sports Drive once again. I'm your host, Preston Moore. I got to scratch my nose for a second. Got a little bit of an itch. Let's talk about what I just mentioned. We're going to talk a little bit of rodeo here on this show today, something we don't normally get to talk about on this show, something I think we should talk about more on this show, and I'm excited to do so with a contestant of the PBR World Finals who is from right here in the Texas Panhandle, hometown of Miami, Texas, Clarendon College graduate. Joining us now live via Zoom is Wyatt Casper. Wyatt, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk a little bit of rodeo. Like I've mentioned a couple times now in my intro and then just now, rodeo is not something that we typically talk about on this show. So it's something that I think our viewers may not know a whole lot about. So for our viewers who may not know, or myself, because I myself am a little bit uneducated on the subject, what is it that you compete in and what is it that you'll be doing in this upcoming PBR World Finals? It's a very, very big event.
Yeah, thank you for having me on here. I'm a saddle bronc rider. I ride the bucking horses. It's usually the third or fourth event out in the rodeo. They're putting on a new deal in Arlington called the Kid Rockin' Rodeo. It's the first year for it. There's going to be bareback, steer wrestling, all the events. And it's first year for it, so we're excited. Hopefully it's a great event.
Absolutely. In your history in saddle bronc riding, what have you benefited the most? What do you think got you to this point? Because you've been very successful in your career, obviously. To compete at this level is no small feat.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. I've had some really good mentors that have helped me along the way. I rodeoed with Bradley Harder, Joey Saunier in my first years out as a pro, right out of college, and went to college for Brett Franks there at Clarendon, and he's a heck of a coach. They all really helped me out, and I got a really good family that stands behind me. They've always pushed me to follow my dreams, and this has been something that I've always dreamed about. I'm just really blessed to be able to make the NFR 4 times and looking to get there for a 5th, and I've had a great career and hoping to continue it on.
Absolutely. Well, you know, when it comes to being from the Panhandle and being in this area, we know how much rodeo means in this area. Would you say that growing up in the Panhandle and being a part of this community is something that benefited you now down the line, now that you've reached the level of success that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. The Panhandle of Texas, I say Texans are probably the most proud people that there is of where they're from, and it's really prideful being here from the Panhandle. It's a ag-based community. The whole region, they all support rodeos. You go to any rodeo, it's always packed out, and there's nothing better.
What do you think is something that, when it comes to this particular event coming up, that you're most excited for?
Yeah, I'm just excited for the new format. It's kind of a head-to-head tournament-style deal. It'd be me riding against somebody else, so we're going to have these horses matched up as good as we can. So it should be a spurring contest, you against the other guy, and I'm excited for this other format.
When it comes to changing the format from ways that you've done it in the past and doing a more head-to-head type tournament style of competition, does that change the way you prepare for this competition at all? Does it change the way that maybe you prepare for it and get ready for what's to come?
Not too terribly much. You know, everybody is a little bit scared of change. I am sometimes too, but I just look at it the same way. It's me against the horse. I don't think about the other guy and his horse. I just go try to make the best ride I can and try to get the highest score.
That's something that, you know, we talk about a lot on this show when it comes to other sports. When it comes to, say, football or basketball, we talk to coaches, and they're always preparing for the other team. They're preparing for who they're going to play against and what they bring to the table. In a sport like saddle bronc riding, it's you against the horse. It's not necessarily something that you prepare for, even if you are in a tournament style, you know, head-to-head type thing, the way that you were describing. When it comes to that aspect of your sport, how do you feel that that factors into it, you know, preparing simply on what you can do to get better?
Yeah, there's a few different factors in bronc riding. You know, you're competing against other guys, and then you're competing against your horse, and your horse is half your score, so it has to be just as good as you are, and you got to try to best that horse and get the most points out of it. And you just go into it with the best mindset that you can. Don't look at nothing negative, and just try to make the best ride.
For any of our viewers, we often have, a lot of high school athletes or kids watch this show. If you were to give a message, say, to any young person who may be looking to get into this as a sport, because it is a bit of an alternative sport. It is something that if you haven't been introduced to it, it can be a little bit difficult to introduce yourself to it and find a niche within it. What would your piece of advice be to that person who's trying to get into this sport, whether as a fan or as a contestant?
Yeah, I'd say just don't be afraid to reach out. If you see something that somebody's doing good and you want to learn how to do that, just don't be afraid to reach out. There's plenty of schools that go on that can introduce you to it. I know plenty of bronc riders that grew up in the city and didn't have no ranching background or none of that. I was pretty lucky and got to grow up out in the country. We roped, we did all that growing up. That's what my parents wanted us to do. And so I was lucky in that area, but just don't be afraid to go and ask somebody for help. And you can always learn something new every day.
Absolutely. Well, Wyatt, we really appreciate you coming on the show, talking a little bit about what you do and what you're looking forward to, especially with this event coming up. We're excited for you, and we're rooting for you here in the Texas Panhandle. Once again, thanks for coming on the show, Wyatt. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you all for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be right back with more Sports Drive right after this break.